Friends and relatives, at this time, we'd like to welcome to the stage to share with us this morning Rick Two Dogs from the Mato Oyate Kiyuksa Band and his Oglala Lakota. He is an Oglala traditional healer and a Waka Ieska interpreter of the sacred. His father is the late Asa Two Dogs Sr., and his mother is the late Edna Lonehill Two Dogs. He descends from the bloodline of the medicine horse and American horse, Brown, Cloud, and Little Warrior. Let's give him a warm welcome, friends and relatives.
In our language, that means been translated as good morning, but it really means beautiful morning. So at this time, I was asked to come here and speak, and I have a PowerPoint that I'm going to use. And first of all, I want to thank the singers for singing the song for one of our greatest leaders. His name is Kashunke Witko, which translated means crazy horse. His horse is wild, is another translation. And so he fought for our lands until his death when he was murdered at Fort Robinson, Nebraska, on September 5th, 1877. He was killed. He was just 37 years old. So he fought all of his life according to his vision to save our way of life and preserve our lands. So as you well know, if you follow the environmental impacts of this world, and also we're still fighting to this day for our land within not only the treaty lands, but the indigenous lands that we lived on for thousands of years. And as you speak now, miners are trying to move into the Black Hills. And the state of South Dakota gives out mining permits just really easily. It takes one day for them to get a mining permit. And there's from what I remember last, over 300 mining permits pending. So we're still trying to save our holy land. This was our holy land for thousands of years. So the struggle continues, and his spirit, Crazy Horse's spirit, is still with us, and it still is helping us. So we will continue on, and we're teaching our young people to continue. When us elders pass from this world, then they will continue to fight till we get our land back. So I'm going to talk about this PowerPoint that I developed, and this is based on my grandfather's teachings. His name was Thomas American Horse, and he was born in 1866, and he was 10 years old at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. And he was also a holy man and a visionary. He foresaw the future. And so these prophecies that I'm talking about come from the creation stories. The creation stories take 7 nights to tell. We tell one segment, and then the next night another. Till it takes 7 nights to tell the prophecy. And in the last part of the prophecy is the wa'ayatan, they call it. Wa'ayatan is our word for prophecy, what we see in the future. And it's an old word. When translated, it means to look over the next hill. Wa'ayatan. They used to send the scouts to climb the ridges in the direction they're going and to see if there's buffalo or maybe the enemy are waiting up there. So that's what they talk about. So it's also a word for prophecy in our language. So the title of this is Ampetu Trokecha. The days will be different. And these come from the beginning of time of our people and the history of our people, the creation story. So this introduces who I am. It's part of our protocol to introduce who we are. So I am Khmoya Money, that is my spiritual name, but I'm also called Rick Two Dogs. I'm a father, a husband, a father, a brother, an uncle, and a grandfather. And I'm the son of Asa Two Dogs Sr. and Edna Lone Hill. I'm the grandson of Two Dogs, American Horse, Little Warrior, Lone Hill, Crow Good Voice, Brown Cloud, and Medicine Horse. So this is my grandfather when he was young, when he toured with Buffalo Bill in the Wild West show. And then you'll see a picture of him, the way he looked when I knew him. So this is my grandfather on the right. And his cousin, his name was George Red Bear, is on the left. And they were both holy men at one time. So when I knew him, my grandfather on the right, he was always like in prayer and thought. His eyes would be closed and he would sing. He would hit his cane on the floor and he would sing. And then he'll open his eyes and he'll tell about something in the future. And one of the things he said was, he said, he's singing and then he stopped and he opened his eyes. He said, someday, he said, Tokata ampe tonji el duegi ha omas apchechik alamanji yuhaktis. Someday in the future, everybody will have a telephone, he said, a small telephone. He said. So he foresaw the coming of the cell phones. One day he was singing and he said, someday there will be war in our land, he said. So I thought that maybe he's talking about the Wounded Knee occupation, 1973. It could be that, or it could be maybe in the war in the future. I don't know, but that's what it's kind of like a speculation on my part. So he was a remarkable man in his time, and he healed a lot of people. And how he got his vision was he was killed by lightning. Him and his son and his wife were killed. But he came to 5 days later, right on the day they were going to bury him, he came to. And he brought back his vision and his message from the Thunder people. So they gave him power to heal people. So the prophecy is, it says, in our language, Tokata zintkala ki itokagata ki ayaya pina kupik deshni. The birds will go south and not return. So that prophecy has already been fulfilled. And there's a lot of discussion on that. Why did they not return? Because he pointed out that when he was a young man growing up in the 1860s and 70s, he said there were birds here that you no longer see them. He said, I don't know where they went. He said maybe they went somewhere and died over there, or maybe they decided not to return. But he said, we don't see those birds anymore. Another prophecy in our language is, when the sun sets, it will change itself. So they took some Dakota leaders, traditional chiefs, to New York in the early 1960s. And they saw this prophecy, and what it is there's a but scientific explanation is that when the sun, if you've ever been to a large city, the sun, when it sets, it changes a different color. And sometimes I was in the city of Los Angeles one time, and that sun was still up, but when it got so far on the horizon, you could no longer see it. Another prophecy is Tokata waniching telo. In the future, there will be no winter. So that's another prophecy. And I think we see that coming now because here in South Dakota, last winter, we had a very mild winter. I think it only got below zero for maybe 4 or 5 days, and the rest of we had like in January and February, we had temperatures in the 70s and hardly any snow. In the future, there will be large fires. And I think we're seeing that now, like in different places, especially California. Then the next one in our language is Oyate ki waziata kia iglaka piktelo. In the future, the people will migrate north. It says. So I just brought 5 prophecies here, but there's more. And each segment of the creation story, which is in 7 segments, all have their own prophecies within them. So our belief is everything that is sacred above, it's sacred below. So for every constellation in the sky, when the sun moves through it, we go to a certain sacred site in the sacred Black Hills and make offerings for that time. So in the spring, we go to a place called Hihankagapaha, impersonating an owl butte, and people know it at one time as Harney Peak, and it was later changed to Blackout Peak. So that's one example, but there's 7 sites that we go through as the sun moves through certain constellations, and that's under the category of Dakota star knowledge. So this is a picture 5 miles up from a satellite of the Sápa, the sacred Black Hills. And you can see the racetrack according to our creation stories. At one time, the animals and the birds raced around the Black Hills to show who will dominate who. And for the 2-legged people, magpie raced for us. And so they raced around this, and they believed that they hemorrhaged from their lungs, and some of them bled from their hooves. And so that's why there's a red circle around the Black Hills. Okiyanke, we call it, the racetrack. So right at the finish line, the magpie flew across and won for the 2-leggeds. So that's how we use like the buffalo and the 4-legged as our animals, or we domesticated like horses, use them for transportation. But I asked my grandfather, I said, in our language, I said, Kaka, wahuto pa tatkanka he ohie hanta takro kakahu. He said, if the 4-legged won, the buffalo won, what would have happened? He said, we would have become their food. So I said, how could we have done that in here? He said, we would have perished as a people and went into the earth and became grass, and they would eat us, he said. So I really thought about that. I said, that it is really a possibility that we as 2-leggeds can perish from this earth. And from it looks like the direction we're going, becomes more and more of a possibility every year. So the earth will survive without us, and in fact, without us, this earth will flourish, because we're the ones, the 2-leggeds, that are polluting this earth. So here's another picture of the Black Hills from the top, and some people say it resembles the head of a buffalo, and some people say it resembles a human heart. So earlier, Mr. Looking Horse referred to it as the heart of everything that is. Shante Wamakhognake is how we say it in Lakota. The heart that is everything. So our ceremonies are connected to this. Our creation story is connected to this. There's a place called Tratuya Ihuta, which is the wind cave, and according to our creation stories, we came out of the wind cave at one time. So this is a depiction or a graph of the sun, how it travels across the earth. So it makes this cycle every year. We could start from the winter solstice, December 21st, or the summer solstice, June 21st. But when it reaches its highest, it's the summer solstice, June 21st. And that's where we had our sun dances at Watho Tipila, known as Devil's Tower. And so it traveled from June 22nd, it starts its journey to the south. On June 21st, it reaches furthest to the south. And then on December 22nd, it starts its journey back. So when it gets between going either direction, then it's called either a spring equinox or a fall equinox. So we continued on this journey for probably millions of years. The sun made this journey, or at least hundreds and thousands of years, but I think millions of years. So that concludes my PowerPoint. Thank you all for listening. And I developed this PowerPoint because I know we as Native people and Dakota people are kind of visual people. We have to see it to learn about it. So that's why I developed this PowerPoint. So I want to thank you all for listening at this time. Wopila e chicha pelo. Thank you very much.